What's up everyone, MK Tom Brady here. In this video, I want to talk about the recent patch that we got from Mortal Kombat 11. I want to go over some of the changes and kind of weigh in and give my reaction and thoughts on these changes. For starters, we knew this wasn't going to be anything major. They let us know it was only going to be a small update. No download required, so you already knew it was going to be something that was a hot fix that got applied to an auto update when you loaded the game up. It wasn't going to be something so massive that a patch was necessary. Patch notes here, I'm not going to go over them all in detail like Joker and Fujin. 950 health, I don't need to show you a character having less health. Fujin, his down 3 collision is so minor, the adjustment, you can't really notice a huge difference, so no need to show you that in detail. Just know that it's got a little less collision on it. Shiva and Cetrion, though, these are two characters that were really complained about. And Shiva really, they got adjusted in two different ways. For one, they both got the 950 health change to where they had 1,000 health. Now they have a little bit less. They have 950 health. Shiva, obviously the stomp. That was the main concern, and that was the adjustment that she got. So for starters, you guys, I'm sure this has happened to you. You're playing somebody, they stomp. It appears the stomp has landed barely right in front or barely right behind as you're dashing through. It appears as if the stomp should have missed, and yet somehow it vacuum sucks you in like a vortex, and instead of her landing right next to you, the game sucks you in and you get stomped, and you're like, wait, I dashed past that. She barely missed me. How did I get sucked in for a full stomp? That's because the collision was a little too big on it. So they toned that collision down, so now a lot of those close calls where she should visibly barely miss, but you get sucked in and stomped anyway, now she will actually miss going forward. The next thing is the actual timing of the stomps. So Shiva had 30 different timings. Not only could she choose to stomp in front of you, behind you, or on top of you, she also had two different versions of these three stomps. She could choose to do a non-delay version, which you see start up with 66, or she can choose to delay the stomp and gain some tracking, and it would land on frame 96. Now, normally this wouldn't be a problem, except for this wasn't actually the only two timings. See, at any point in between frame 96 or 66 or 96, there was an intermediate timing in which she could choose to barely delay it, but still gain the tracking. So she could land on frame 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 79, 80, 90, whenever. 30 different delay timings, all with tracking. And you had to guess not just which stomp she was going to do in front, behind, on top, but delay or non-delay, and which one of the 30 delay timings was she going to do. This made it almost impossible for some people to avoid. So what they did was they removed the intermittent timing. Now when she goes to delay, she can't land any sooner than this right here. No longer can she land those earlier frames with the tracking. She can't land at all. So now, you know, if she's going to do no delay, she's going to be in the air exactly this long and land at exactly this time. And you know if she's going to delay it, if that's your read, she's going to be in the air exactly this long and land at exactly this time. There is no sooner timing for her to land. That now makes it much easier to make the read, avoid it, and not get hit by it. And that leads us to the last change they did. When people would avoid the stomp, they would say it recovered way too fast. So instead of recovering in 31 frames, now we see the recovery says 61. So now if you notice, it takes her quite a long time to recover and then guard, move, whatever. So now it doesn't matter if she lands next to you or a little away from you. 61 frames is enough time for you to avoid it. And once it's been avoided, you can, regardless of most ranges that you're going to find yourself at, be able to get a punish. So it's easier to avoid, easier to punish, which is pretty much the majority of the concerns that people had for Shiva. Cetrion barely got touched. I mean, they said they reduced slightly the chip damage on her tornado. As you can see, it's barely noticeable. It still does very good chip, amplify or non-amplify. so it's barely noticeable. It seems they were trying to find an in-the-middle timing for this, where the people could be a little happier because something got toned down, but the Cetrion players wouldn't feel like they nuked the character. And of course, Cetrion players are still acting like somehow this patch put her into the ground. Don't ask me how they feel that way, but barely any notice on the chip. And of course, if you flawless block, it's pretty much still the exact same. It basically went from doing almost no chip damage to doing almost no chip damage when you flawless block. So not really anything that you can notice there. Robocop and Rambo also got some adjustments. So Robocop, his main string, a lot of people would say, like, why is my main string so unsafe, right? Like, this is like his main tool. So they recognized, hey, these characters do need some touch-ups. So what they did was they took Robocop's main string, his 1-2-1, they gave it more active frames, which means that it's now active for 2 additional frames. It's on the screen long enough, or a little longer, so it can hit the opponent a little longer once it's on screen. So this is the string right here, and you see it's also -5 instead of -10. They took away 5 recovery frames. Also, if you notice Robocop's health, they boosted his health up to 1100. So now he's got a little bit more health. This is the second health change to his life they've done. It went from 1000 to 1050 to now 1100 in this update. Rambo, he also got a few touches here. They took his forward 1-2. This was -10. It is now, if you look at the block advantage, and now it says -7. So it went from being unsafe to now being pretty safe outside of 6 frame down 1 punish, but at no risk to being comboed. And then his back 2-4 string, they gave it a few more block frames. So it's the opponent is in block stun a little bit longer, and they gave the string a little bit more pushback. And last but not least, the character that probably the Shao Kahn players, almost since the first day of the game, have been saying how much help that Shao Kahn needs. And this update, obviously, he got the most changes. And Shao Kahn players, hopefully, I think they were hoping that Shao Kahn players would be a little happier with their character now in this update, as opposed to what they were saying before the update. So let me kind of go over exactly what got done to Shao Kahn. First thing is his hammer lunge. So it has less pushback on block, and it recovers faster. So hammer lunge here, as you can see, it's not much pushback here, but it recovers faster, so it is safe. Because you're so close, a character like Gearus, Sub-Zero, etc., with a 6 frame down 1, they are going to be able to get a 6 frame down 1 punish. But it has a little better recovery and less pushback on block. And then you can amplify it, and it's now +1. So again, the amplified version has more pushback on block. It's got more block stun frames, and you have more recovery, which the more block stun plus the more recovery allows it to be +1. It also has better recovery on miss. So like you see on miss, let me see if I can get it to miss here. It goes pretty far. On miss, it goes really, really far as it is. So there we go. I was doing the hold forward version. So yeah, it recovers pretty fast, as you can see. The regular version, you can see, recovers really, really fast. Like he can, recover really fast with that as well. The better recovery on this allows Shao Kahn to go into combos here where he couldn't before. So now he gains a meterless combo starter. So now he can do things like 1-4 and then go into a full combo. And it's now a meterless combo starter. This does help Shao Kahn quite a bit. With all his faults, needing meter to do things like flawless block up 2, defensive bar for your up 2, up 3, etc., and then needing meter for your amplified shoulder or any type of launcher, Now having a meterless launcher does help him out quite a bit and also gives him that threat from range. They then adjusted his forward 3 string. So forward 3, 4 is now -9 instead of -12. So they took 3 recovery frames off of this. This is to make it a little safer. And they also made it so even when you flawless block, you can special cancel. So let's put on flawless block here. So when you flawless blocked it before, it was -12. It's also -9 on flawless block. And now you can also special cancel off of a flawless block, which is something that's pretty original to Shao Kahn. Usually in this game, when somebody flawless blocks something, you're not able to then cancel into the special. They allow Shao Kahn to now special cancel off of this string, even though it's been flawless blocked. So what does this actually do for him? Like, that's the real question here. A little bit, but it doesn't really address, in my opinion, the main issue with this string. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and take control of gears here. The main issue with the string is starting with forward 3, which got no adjustment whatsoever. This attack is unsafe on block. It says -8, which allows characters to down 1, down 3 with at least a 6 or 7 frame attack, or go into a full combo punish. So forward 3, full combo punishable, and then when he goes ahead with and does forward 3, 4, obviously it's -9, so people are going to down 1, or still full combo punish. So he was still getting full combo punished. Even at -9, that doesn't change. Like, he's still getting full combo punished. So that change doesn't help. He went from being punished for full combos with 7 and 8 frame attacks to still being full combo punished with 7 and 8 frame attacks. That 3 frame difference, it looks good on paper, but it doesn't really fix the problem. I think the main reason for the 3 frame difference was to make sure that the special cancel can't also be interrupted when you flawless block. So when you would flawless block, he would not be able to get the special out. Let's go ahead and record it again. Right, and he would get full combo punished. Right, so it would be you flawless block it, and you could full combo punish without the bar. You wouldn't have to get the up 2 to actually punish it. You could just punish with a meterless punish, full combo. He couldn't special cancel, nothing. The point of the 3 frames, I believe, is not to actually fix the problem of the string being unsafe. It's to make sure that when you flawless block and you go to down 1 or attack, that those 3 frames being removed gives him enough cancel advantage to ensure that whatever special he cancels into cannot be interrupted by a down 1 or a standing jab or anything like that. Instead, you'll have to up 2, and you can still up 2 and beat out any special that he has. That doesn't really matter. Also, another change to this, another thing that the string doesn't help is you can actually just, again, 6 frame down 1. He's still weak against that. You can just mash down 1 in between. So if he does forward 3, nothing, down 1 will hit him. Forward 3, 4, down 1 can interrupt if you're a 6 frame down 1. He can stop that by doing forward 3 shoulder, which he's dead. Other characters that can't down 1 punish, if he does forward 3, 4, nothing, he's dead. Forward 3, 4, shoulder, he's dead. Even if you flawless block up 2, he's dead. The only thing he has is the option to stop you from meterlessly punishing him. There is now a mind game there in which he's either going to be dead or you're going to be dead. There is an option select that allows people to simultaneously punish the forward 3, 4 on flawless block and simultaneously punish that while blocking a shoulder link in. I don't know how practical that is. People say it's very easy to do. So if that's the case, that is disappointing. But the purpose of this is to give him an extra option in which he can risk his life to prevent you from punishing him, which that's actually what got done. The final change is the ground shatter move here. So this move here, it's got a little better recovery, but it's got more pushback. So you see it's -14, but with the pushback, there are quite a few characters that are not going to be able to punish this. So they made it a little safer, a little bit more pushback. So less recovery frames, more pushback. Then when you amplify it, it's got more pushback, it's got more block stun frames, and it's now also a mid. So this move right here, you see it's safer now. So now it's, what is it, -8. So at this range here, no one's going to be able to punish it at -8. Like, you would have to be point blank to punish this move. So it's now safe on block. It's okay. They made it from a low block to a mid block, so it's not a double low anymore. It appears to be safe on block. I mean, characters like a 6 frame down one character can still interrupt. So, okay, you say, well, outside of like 4 or 5 characters, it looks pretty good, right? You can flawless block it, but that's everybody. But unfortunately, you can still just jump out of it and punish him. You can also short hop it. I did a neutral jump. Punish. So it really did nothing. They made it safer on paper, but that really did nothing to him. So mainly the big thing to me is the hammer lunge. Overall, when I look at this patch, what was it designed to do? In my opinion, the two main things that it was designed to do was buff up Shao Kahn and tone down Shiva. Obviously, it did tone Shiva down, and Shao Kahn did get buffed. I mean, the hammer lunge does make him better. It absolutely does. It gives him more options in situations where he can now conserve meter for other things or gain a big damage launcher in situations when he doesn't have the meter to spend. So it is an upgrade to Shao Kahn. But to me, this is very much like a football team that has great offense already, and instead of getting a defensive player, they get another offensive player. Your defense is garbage, but your offense is good and you get an offensive player. Not that Shao Kahn had this great offense, but he was already good with damage. His problem wasn't that, oh, if only Shao Kahn had a way to do a meterless launcher. That wasn't what was holding Shao Kahn back. That wasn't the issue that needed to be fixed. The issue with Shao Kahn has never been, oh, if only he had a way to lunge in with a full meterless combo. That was never his issue. His issue was when he does get in, he's very unsafe, especially off his mind games or forward 3. He has to risk his life. Now, they did give him an additional way to risk his life, to put an additional mind game, but overall, he's still risking his life to stop you from killing him. Which, of course, if you make the right read, he's still dead anyway. Hammer lunge does help, but it's a cherry on top of something he already had that was good. The other stuff doesn't really help his problems at all. The forward 3 stuff, sure, it'll come into play every once in a while, but you're going to die just as many times as that's actually going to help you off the forward 3/4 string. The ground shatter stuff, in my opinion, is completely useless. You're going to die the same way you're dying for it in general now, or before the patch. But really, what people are most disappointed about is that they don't, again, tell us anything. Now, what this update does tell us is reading in between the lines. They have let us know, look, we hear you. We know Robocop needs some help. Rambo needs some help. Shao Kahn needs some help. We know Cetrion, the tornado, is a problem. We got that. We knew Shiva was a problem. The stomp, we got that. It lets you understand. But this, again, was only a small update, right? So they're telling you, if we actually were doing a patch right now, we're letting you know we identify Shao Kahn needs help. This is some of the most we can do with a hot fix. Through a patch, we understand we're going to do a lot more. Now, the question is, where does it say they're actually going to patch the game? And this is ultimately the problem. Communication. Are you done? We're left to assume. Sure, you can say, well, Tom, they've done small updates after Ultimate. It's reasonable to assume another one is coming. Is it, though? I mean, are we sure? They don't tell us anything. We don't know what's really happening. Is there another update coming? Is there not? If it is, are you ever going to overhaul the game? To me, this just pisses people off. Like, Sure, we can assume, yeah, there'll be another update. We don't know for sure, and we don't know the kind of update it's going to be, and it needs a massive one. But really, the message they could have said something like, small update, doesn't require a download, but stay tuned to news coming soon on a major future update. That lets us know, hey, they're planning to give us that major update. All right, they know this. We could look at this hotfix then and say, they identify a lot of the problems. Some characters need to be toned up. Some stuff at Cetrion needs to be looked at. Shiva needed to be looked at. And if they overhaul the game, I'm sure they'll change the meta quite a bit. They understand some of the problems. In not letting us know, stay tuned, whatever, we're left again. We had to wait God knows how long for this, and now what do we got to wait again? The Pro Series the qualifiers conclude in June. The top 16 finales won't conclude till sometime in July. So we got to wait till July or August or later for any type of news or update. So we're just again left in silence, wondering for months after months after months. The fact that a lot of people are now going to MKX really tells you a lot, because I'll be honest with you. A lot of people that are going to MKX now that are telling you just how fun the game is, back then, a lot of them, they weren't singing that tune at the end of the game. Now, look, MKX, in my opinion, wasn't my favorite game, but MK11 is just extremely boring, and despite all of MKX's faults, it was not boring. I played it constantly through its 2-year span, and it has a lot of issues, and I had a lot of things to say about it, but being bored was never one of them. And unfortunately, that's how not only I feel, but a lot of people feel with Mortal Kombat 11. Our frustration comes with, once again, no communication. When are we getting anything? Are we getting anything? Right? You don't have to tell us exactly when, but give us a sign to where we're not guessing. Guys, more stuff coming. Stay tuned. When you do stuff like this, if they do announce an overhaul, people will be so pissed off for being in the dark for so long that you'll have to deliver the overhaul of Omega overhauls for people to say, all right, this was worth the wait. I do also I would be disingenuous if I didn't let everybody know that no matter what NRS game you go back to and find fun, if you played most of those games in year 1, you probably wouldn't find the game fun. Most of that fun factor was adjusted and changed in year 2. And MK11 never got its second year because of COVID and the shutdown. Now, while they are back at work, they're not telling us if they really plan on doing that overhaul and giving MK11 that second year support that a lot of other games got. So the fact is, we're still frustrated despite this update because we want to know, we could assume, it is somewhat reasonable to assume that while they've given us future updates in small doses, they may give us another one. But we don't want any small doses because they can't actually fix the problem in small dose hotfixes. We want to know, are you planning on doing a major update? And all they would have to do is say, stay tuned for news coming soon about a future major update, and we would be okay. It's the lack of communication that I think set everybody over the edge. Because when everybody got this tweet, even though a hotfix was coming out the next day, the community's reaction was, the hell with this, a hotfix, that's not enough, we're done, we're going to MKX, you guys can keep MK11 and, good luck with that. That was the community's response. Anger, frustration, and that's what lack of communication will do. But overall, I do think they did try to address some things. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I always love to hear from you. Thanks everybody for watching, and as always, stay tuned for more content.